I didn't want to be that kind of wife. Like, come on, you have to go. Let's go. I would just ask, do you want to go to mass with us? No? Okay. Just kept it going, but prayed for him. Honey, do you want to go to mass with us? No, I'm going to watch football. Okay. So I did a 54-day novena, and I asked for the intercession of St. Joseph. I'm like, St. Joe, please soften my husband's heart. Bring him to Jesus. I'm not kidding, the day I finished a 54-day novena, do you want to come to mass with us? Yeah, sure, I'll go. I was like, what? And my husband now changes his work schedule so that he won't miss mass. I mean, he won't miss mass.
This is Touched by Heaven, everyday encounters with God. Because God is speaking to you and me and the church and the world, and here we get to listen in on the conversations. Through these encounter stories of angels, divine intervention, prophetic dreams, visions, near-death experiences. Hello there. My name is Trapper Jack. You know the 5-second rule, right? Drop some food on the floor, wherever it happens to be, and you grab it really fast. That's 3.7 seconds. This is still good, right? I can still eat this, right? Glob of ice cream on the floor. It's like, hey, that top part, though, that's still clean, right? Let me just grab a little bit of that. It's my favorite flavor. Oh, it's peanut butter for me. Just peanut butter on like a slice of bread or toast for me. I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven. It's like, then it'll flip out of the hand. It's not face down. It's face down on the 4.2 seconds. Kitchen floor. I'm sure this floor is clean, right? At least in the last 6 months, sometime. But did you know there is another 5-second rule that could be helping you, well, especially this time of year, posting in January. Everyone's got that, let's try that resolution again, sure. And we go to the gym and come back in a month, and where'd everybody go? And the diet where'd everybody go? It's, we face this. So is there a way of maybe being more successful as we approach these changes we want in our life? Including our prayer life, including our faith life, some things that we think we're going to do, want to do, start, stop. There's a 5-second rule to help us. And I mean, this was just dropped on me. I mean, God just dropped this. It's a book. And I opened up the book, and there's a sentence in there. And it's the sentence I repeat over and over again about myself, about why I fail. And it's like, whoa, this is for me, might be for you. And I bring it up with Jenny, as you'll hear in this episode. It kind of comes out of nowhere. And Jenny has a complete connection to it because of her reasons. It's kind of a Touched by Heaven moment within Touched by Heaven. And I do love when that happens. But we also have Jenny's prophetic dream, and there's her husband. And also, the prayer to the guardian angel with immediate results. Good, cool stuff. Before we get there, a reminder that I need your story. You're the fuel to make this all work. You're sitting on that angel story. I know it. Touchedbyheaven.net. Very easy for you there. Also, the other part of that, you're the fuel, and the other fuel, of course, is financial help, and we need that as well. Come here to touchedbyheaven.net. Just kind of click your way through to Patreon, and there you'll be. Or go to patreon.com and search for Trapper Jack. Our Patreon shout-out goes to Claire Signorello. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon family. And she tells me she has a story, so we'll be hearing from Claire real soon there, too. They do seem to go together a lot, actually. Those who listen end up having stories, who also end up supporting what we do here. So thanks, Claire. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's get to Jenny in New Jersey. Hello.
Hi.
Of course, when I hear Jenny, I think Forrest Gump. Jenny.
Oh, yeah, never heard that one. Jenny, that's my boat, Jenny.
It never gets, okay, it does get old. Okay, it does
No,
get
it
old. How'd you find the podcast?
Oh, I was thinking about that earlier. I'm like, how did I find the podcast? Because I listened to every single episode. A mom I'm a homeschooling mom. So we belong to part of a co-op. And she sent an email and to take a listen. And I listened to it and I was like, oh my goodness, these are my people. It validated all the things that I've witnessed in my own life. So I just binged and listened to every single episode.
Well, cool. So when you started hearing these stories, you said, these are my people, because you've had some stuff happen.
I have. I've had so many things happen. And for me, it's more, I'm a dreamer, I dream a lot of things and either they come to pass or I don't even know how to explain it. They're crazy. And I've actually had a dream with God, with Jesus, with Mary, separate dreams with Satan trying to tempt me. It's crazy.
Jenny was baptized a Catholic, but mom and dad really weren't into it all that much. Mom and dad were in their teens when Jenny was born, so she was really raised more by the grandparents.
One grandparent was my grandmother. She was involved with the occult. And then the other grandmother was the other way, daily mass goer, pray the rosary every day. And as an adult now, looking back in hindsight, like every time I would go to the occult grandma, which I love very much, I love them both dearly, it was a creepy feeling in the home. You know what I mean? Whereas I went to the other grandmother, which I always preferred to go to, it just felt like this peace and this light and this airiness. But my parents never went to mass growing up, really. And anytime I brought anything up, they thought I was nuts because when I was little, I kind of felt called to go into religious life. And my mom was like, no, you're not doing that. No, you're not doing that. So, you know,
So were you thinking of being a sister and all that kind of stuff?
I did.
Yeah.
I had dreams as a child being married into the church, but being married to Jesus, like to the church, and
Yeah.
I just, the thought of devoting my life to prayer was, I loved it. I loved the thought of it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
where does it begin for you then? Just we can just go story to story and take as long as you want.
In my teen, in my teens, I had a dream that I was in a doctor's office. It was all white. It was like this 1970-ish greenish chair, like this couch, a bookshelf, a coffee table with lots of magazines, and I'm sitting there in a waiting area by myself, going through the magazine, and then I hear the voice of the Lord say to me, "You can have anything you want. All you have to do is ask." And when I woke up, I had just this peace, and I knew what he meant. I knew that he meant whatever I needed, if I came to him in prayer, he would give it to me, you know? And I always held on to that. One of the dreams, I had another dream years later when I was dating. And I was dating all these bozos. They weren't for me. And I had a dream that I was in the ocean with this one person who was holding me up. There was nothing. It was just all water anywhere I looked, just this vast water before me. And this man was holding me up, and we just the look when we looked at each other in each other's eyes, just this love that I felt and peace. By the way, I'm terrified of water. You'll never catch me in the ocean. So just having this peace. And when I woke up, that love and peace, I prayed hard. I said, Lord, that's it. That right there, that's what I want. I want this. The prayer with this man was early 20s, mid 20s, maybe.
There were a number of matchmakers in Jenny's life. Let's fix her up with somebody, and they would do this without telling Jenny what they were up to necessarily.
A cousin of mine, a day before we were to meet up, she says, "Oh, by the way, so and so's friend is coming along." And I'm like, "Oh, great, here we go." This was a setup, they were setting me up. So I go, we have dinner, and this guy, he was just so rude and so awful. And I don't think he did it intentionally. The type of work that he did, he didn't get any sleep, so he was just off. And the next day, my mom goes, "Are you ever going to see this guy again?" I go, "Nah, he's not for me." We've been together for 18 years, by the way. The next
I love it. I love it.
The next day, because he happened to be my cousin's neighbor, he lived across the street. I was visiting to see the new baby, and he comes by and he apologized for the day before, and he asked if we can exchange numbers. And the only reason I gave him the benefit of the doubt was because my cousin, she would never set me up with someone that she didn't think was a good person. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and just right after that, we just clicked. We have never been apart from a day after that. And the first actual conversation that I had with him face to face, when I looked at him, I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is him!" And here we are.
He's the guy that was in the water.
He's the guy that was in the water. And he is that for me. He's so calm. He is my calm waters. If I'm get agitated, he's just so chill and relaxed and laid back. Nothing really phases him. Nothing gets him out of sorts. He's amazing.
Wow.
And he's my honey.
Uh, what was so rude about him? Just kind of wondering what a bad day was. I mean, what a
Oof. So he's a longshoreman, so they work
Yeah.
all hours. He
Yeah.
was just so as we're waiting for the table, this was like a lounge restaurant type place. I went to the bar to get a drink, and then I'm going to pay for it. He's like, what are you, stupid?" I don't think he meant to say it like that, but I'm like, what is this? What's this guy's problem? And then he didn't even utter a word to me during dinner, but it was just little remarks like that. I'm like, this guy's what's this is another bozo. What are we doing here?
Hey, don't you know I do that kind of stuff for you? What's the matter with you? Right?
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, that's
Yeah.
sweet. That's a great story. That's a sweet story.
It gets better.
Okay.
So that dream that I told you about the Lord, right? Last summer for this is another cousin. We're at a barbecue and she has a necklace that says MK 1124, and it really really stood out to me because MK is Mark and 1124 is my birthday. And my husband's name is Mark and my birthday's 1124. And I said to her, "What is that?" And she goes, "Oh, it's a Bible verse," but she couldn't really tell me what it was. And she said that it meant something to her and she had one for her and one for her daughter and they have matching necklaces. And I went home and I looked it up. And do you know what that says? It says, "Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you will receive it and it will be yours."
Wow.
I was just blown away. I'm like, my God, you are so good.
Don't you
You're
love how he does this?
it it's amazing.
I'm
It's
getting chills now
amazing.
because I've had a lot of these kinds of things just recently where it's just no question he's there. Just you just keep bumping into stuff like that and you go, "Oh, there you are again. There you are again," you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Because that was a dream from my teens, and this is just this I just discovered. I mean, I think I've come across the verse before, but I've never really realized it's Mark 11:24. I mean, my husband's name is Mark, and my birthday's 11:24. It just
Wow.
felt like it was for me.
And how old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
44.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he connects
So
the dots that far apart, but
yes.
you remember, you know?
Well, that's something I hold on to. Yeah, I love that dream because, I mean, another instance. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it was a connection to the prayer that I made, but at a wedding, we had a family member literally having a heart attack on the floor during right at the reception. And the bride, I'm very, very close to her, but she suffers from anxiety and depression and things like that. And I, that's another time that I prayed to her. I'm like, "Lord, please don't, not now. She won't be able to handle this. Please don't do." And by the second I was done with the prayer, the man got up. I was like, "Oh my goodness. Thank you, Lord." Spiritual high five.
Wow. He's just filling you with wows.
He sure does.
Here's, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this here. Maybe I am. I'll pretend I am, and I'll edit it out if I don't want to. But I just find it interesting here at this time of beginning of the year and everything. And
Hmm.
everyone's, they get into resolutions and things like that. And I'm not into resolutions because, there's a lot of people in the gym right now and they won't be there in 2 weeks, that kind of thing. But that said, it was funny. I'm a big fan of Father Mike Schmitz. You?
Ooh, love him.
Okay, just met him. Just met him last week. Just met him.
Get out. Awesome.
He was speaking at a retreat Elizabeth and I were at, and Cardinal Timothy Dolan was there, and it's an amazing
Hmm.
Catholic couples thing. Made 1,000 of us. So, and but when I got back, I started listening to whatever the episodes we had missed while we were gone, and he starts off talking about the 5-second rule. Everybody, the food. You drop the food on the floor. 5-second rule. I can still eat it. That kind of thing. And he goes on to say, no, it's science says it's contaminated. You can't do that. Then he kind of went off with where he was going with that particular talk. I'm reading a book right now called The 5-Second Rule
Get out.
about something totally different. It's written by a motivational speaker, Mel Robbins, who's been around for a while. I have no great. I've seen her. She does a lot of TED Talks, does a lot of talks
Hmm.
around the nation. But I literally randomly just was going through books on Audible going, lead me. Just lead me, Jesus. Where are we going today?
Hmm.
And I just put my finger down on one. And being a blind guy, my phone spoke to me and it said 5-second rule, Mel Robbins. And I go into it and it's about me because my weakness, my greatest weakness on a day-to-day basis can be summed up in one sentence. And that is, I don't feel like it. So if I have something that, it's like I say is important to me, and but I don't feel like it. I can start off like a flare gun moment, where it's like, or what would you call it? A shooting star, where I start out with all the energy in the world. And I just hit this. It can be in workouts. It can be in food. It can be diet. It can be an area I want to do. I could be writing a book, whatever. And I just flare out because I just hit this day. I don't feel like it. And I just can't get through I don't feel like it. And here's Mel Robbins, who talks about in her life, I don't feel like it. I'm stuck in this. I don't feel like it. I'm going, this is me. She's talking about me.
It's me too.
And then one day she was watching the news and something was blasting off from Cape Canaveral or something. And you can always hear the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and blast off. And she thought, and it just hit her in a certain inspirational way. And she thought, that's what I need to do. I need to, so I don't think about it. So I just do things, take my mind out of it and just go, oh yeah, I want to do that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. And just start doing it. Write the email, make the phone call, start whatever the next step is, whatever that is. It's the 5-second rule. Don't think about it. It's a good thing to do. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you just do it.
Okay.
And in her case, she always said she wanted to get up a half hour earlier. Don't hit the snooze alarm. Just get up. So she puts the phone or the alarm clock, whatever it was at the time, in the next room. So she's got to get up out of bed. So when she hears the alarm going off, she wakes up and goes, oh, that's right. I'm doing the 5-second rule. And she just counts in bed, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And she turns off the alarm and she begins her day and she doesn't hit the snooze and she doesn't crawl back into bed. And she uses that in every aspect of her life, of the to-dos in her life, so she doesn't hit the I don't feel like it. She just does it. So I don't know why I felt like I'm supposed to tell you that, or I'm supposed to say this in another form. I'm not sure which, but there.
No, that was for me.
What do you mean that's for you?
That's for me. I've been praying and saying, okay, Lord, I'm going to get up half hour early and I'm going to get my prayers done before the kids get up. So, oh my gosh, it's so weird.
He just did it again, didn't he?
Yes, he sure did.
He just did it
sure
again.
did. My goodness. And I'm going to get up early and I'm going to get all my prayers done before the kids get up. And every morning I wake, like my eyes crack open. I'm like, oh, no, I can't. I don't feel like it right now.
Because your mind starts going, no, it's warm in here. It's comfortable in bed and I don't want to. And tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, not today, not today. And so what she does, she puts it in the bathroom. So you have to get up and begin your day. You have to. And you do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, boom, and you just get out of bed.
You just gave me the chills, though. Really, it's crazy.
See, I was supposed to tell you that. I was supposed to tell you
how do you do that?
And again, Father Mike Schmitz says 5-second rule. I'm reading a book called The 5-Second Rule, and I'm going, okay, this is for it's solidifying the fact that this can help you. And it's also solidifying the fact you're going to be talking to someone who needs to hear this.
That is so funny. God, spiritual high five. Another one.
By the way,
thank you.
Do you know one of her books? You know the title of one of her books?
No.
High Five.
Stop.
I'm not kidding.
You must be.
I'm not kidding. I just went, what else has she written? And I see it's something like give yourself a high five or high five. It's high five.
Wow.
Get any more chills?
Yes. That's crazy.
It is crazy. Then another thing, okay, I'll give you some other stuff she says. This is for, you mentioned your friend with anxiety. Okay? Yes. Everybody worries. Everybody suffers from anxiety. Everybody has little panic attacks of some sort. Everybody wake up in the middle of the night and your brain takes over and you can't get back to sleep. Everybody has whatever your form of anxiety is, or I don't want to do that, or whatever it is. So here she is. She's one of the most prolific speakers out there, or at least was. I think she still is. But about 8 years ago, she did more keynote addresses than any other woman in the country. She had like 100 out of 365 days. 100 of those, she had a keynote address at some conference or something. So, that's a lot of speaking. And she came from fear of speaking. Public speaking scared her to death. As she put it, she says, my heart's palpitating. My underarms are dribbling. I mean, she gets pretty graphic about how she's sweating in the underarms. Heart's palpitating, anxious. She's thinking, I'm going to make a fool of myself out there. Look at all these brilliant people speaking, and I'm an idiot. I can't do this. I can't do this. And anxiety takes over, and our brain is a really funny thing. The brain doesn't know what's going on. The brain just knows, oh, I got to protect you. I got to protect you somehow because you're going through this anxious, horrible thing. And it doesn't know what the problem is until you tell it what the problem is. And so she learned through this is scientifically proven. If you tell yourself, if you then convince yourself with this 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that you're not nervous and panicky and anxious because, oh my God, I'm stupid and horrible and I'm going to fail. Instead, you just say, I'm excited. I'm excited to go out there and deliver my message, because your body reacts the same either way. If you're excited, you can get sweaty under the arms and your heart can palpitate and do all that kind of stuff. The brain doesn't know until you tell it what all that palpitating and sweating is all about. So if you reverse it, and she puts it another way. She didn't like to fly. So she hears a sound on the aircraft and she's starting to panic. What was that? We're going down. I'm going to die. It's all going to be terrible. And instead she flips it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5-second rule. And she goes into, when I land in Michigan, that's where my family is. I can see myself pulling into the driveway. I get to see my folks. We're going to share a meal together. And so she flips it and now she's excited. Same things happen in her body, sweating underarms and all that kind of stuff. But now she flips it into, she starts the sentence with, I'm excited. I'm excited. I get to see my folks, get to see the house again, get to visit, get to. That's the technique of the 5-second rule. It's a good read. It's an interesting read. It has a lot of, the book could probably be 2 hours instead of the 6-hour audio that it is. But she includes a lot of emails from people who have found it to be successful. And it's packed also with the science behind how this works. Take your mind out of the equation and just do it in getting up or making the phone call, email. Oh, I got to tell you something. Oop.
Yes.
You ready for another one?
Yes, I am.
As I'm connecting with you here on Zoom, I can't figure out why I'm hearing this particular tune. I know what it means to me. God sends me this song, Charades. Familiar. The song was in, I think, a Cary Grant movie. Da, 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 charades. But the game charades where you pretend.
Yes.
That's another method he has given me to do when I don't want to do. Pretend you're the kind of person that can. Just pretend. Okay. It's play charades. Pretend you're the person that can make that phone call. Pretend you're the person that go out there on that stage and make that talk. Pretend you're the person who can write that email. Pretend you're the person that can bravely walk across the room and say, hi, I'd like to meet you. Pretend you're that person. Act. Be an actor. And so he sends me the music charades to pretend so that I'll be the person that I have difficulty being because I'm this introverted guy who goes, hey.
You introverted?
I am.
No way.
Those are my roots.
Me too.
Those are my roots.
Me too.
You know what I think introversion really is? It's just fear. I think it's just we call it being introverted. They're extroverted. I think it's just fear, basically. And so because of what I do, I am now less introverted, but those are my roots. But I certainly am much, much braver now because I've done the reps so many times of talking to people.
Cool. I'm going to have to check those books out and maybe use these to put into practice. It's funny that you say that because I was asked to do something for the church. And I was like, I could never do that. I can't speak in front of people.
Until you pretend that you can, until you say, I'm excited to share my experience of, look at your experiences. You should be sharing these experiences with other like-minded folks, don't you think?
I think so.
And also not like-minded folks, because that's part of conversion is like, I didn't know that God existed, that carries on conversations like this.
Yes. I don't know how people don't, I don't know how people don't see God in the day-to-day things. It's crazy. But even when I strayed away, because there was a point where I was gone from the church for about 20 years, college years and all that, he still remained faithful. And I just still saw him there always, my day-to-day life. I have a funny story, a mom story. One night, my kids were driving me bananas. I had one kid crying in one room, another kid crying in another, and he's relentless. He won't let up. And he's crying and crying and crying and crying and crying, but crying because he wanted me to sit there with him. And I was just exhausted, had a migraine. and I was losing it. And I forgot where I heard that you can pray to your children's guardian angel. And I was laying in there. I was like, Mark's guardian angel, please, please, I don't know what you have to do to comfort this child, but I am going to lose it. I need your help right now. Trapper. Instantly, he was quiet. I actually went over to go check on him. He was sleeping. He went from quiet. I was like, oh my gosh, did something happen to him? And I go over and he was sleeping. It was amazing.
I had the same
I was
experience. Can I tell you mine?
Yes, please.
Did you listen to the two-parter with Tiffany about Michael the Archangel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Amazing. All these stories are just so amazing to me. So, but in that part one, she mentions how finally, when she called out to Michael the Archangel, whose job is to run the demons off, he came. And at least for that moment in time, the demons flew. They got out of there. She was okay. All the darkness went away, and she went, wow. And so Michael kind of became her guy until she figured out that she kind of made Michael an idol. And so then she figured that out. But Michael is there for us, right? To run off the demons. And so I mentioned in that episode, I think, how sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night, can't get back to sleep, I'll just say, hey, if it's the demons pounding on me to keep me from being rested, come and get him, Michael. I pray this in your name, Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's worked. Not always, but it's worked at times. But sometimes I think it's my own mind, not necessarily the demons, you know what I mean? But anyway, so my wife, and I don't even remember what the occasion was or what was going on, but Elizabeth was having issues with something, and she was having a meltdown. She was just having a meltdown in the moment, and it was nothing I could fix. You know how guys want to fix things, right? There's nothing I could say. There's nothing. She was just in it, and me saying calm down was not going to help one of those moments. And I was in the midst of this understanding through Tiffany about Michael and the awareness, and I went, Michael, I said, my hunch is that the enemy's involved in this. So I call upon you, Michael, and all the angels to come and run the demons off and away from my wife. And like you, within less than 5 minutes, she was fine. She went
amazing.
She went from 100 miles an hour going crazy to 5 miles an hour. She was fine. And I didn't tell her then. I told her later. I said, I prayed for you then. And I said, I think Michael and the angels did something. So to your point, can you pray to angels and say, help out? Yeah. And he taught you, didn't he? That it works.
He sure did. He sure did.
Taught me too. So I say that to anybody who's married or anybody within family, call on the angels, guardian angels, Michael, because there's stuff going on that isn't good. It's negative, and the enemy loves that. So call upon them to run off the demons if they're there. Absolutely.
I literally felt like I was going to snap, have one of those mom moments, get to bed, go to sleep. And I was like, Lord, it's like, his angel, please just help me. I'm going to lose it. I was like on the verge. It was just going to happen. And it was just silence. It was crazy. I've never experienced something like that ever in my life. I was so amazed and blown away. And then another time, something similar. And then I got them settled and in bed and my husband sleeping. And in the dark, I'm fumbling, looking for my rosary because I can't sleep. I'm looking everywhere. Look in the kids' room, look in my room, and I look in every room. So I get to bed. I'm like, okay, I can't find my rosary. I'm laying there. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe this. When I woke up, my rosary was in my hand. And I said to my husband, I was like, did you find this? Did you give this to me? He's like, no, what are you talking about? You just woke up before me. It was literally in my hand. That was like one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me. I know it's something small, but I could not believe it. It was like the Blessed Mother saying, yep, this is what you need to do. Here you go.
Yeah, beautiful. I love our conversation, by the way. This is kind of cool, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was amazing. It's just so many little things like that. And it's
just God conversing with us. And sometimes we can miss it. A lot of people, if faced in that same situation, would have the rosary and going, maybe it was always in my hand, or it must have been under the pillow and I just kind of found it. And it's, who knows where it was, but bottom line is you got an answer.
There was no question. I was physically up looking for it, pulling covers, trying not to wake my husband, going in the kids' room and just feeling defeated. I was like, you know what, maybe I'm not supposed to pray, and waking up like, no, here you go. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes, you are supposed to pray this right now.
Beautiful.
I love the Blessed Mother and the rosary.
It's
I have
powerful.
a strong devotion. Yes.
In my case, a song bubbled up. I don't know what episode I mentioned this, but a song bubbled up. Rosanna by, is that Toto? I think that's Toto. And I couldn't understand why I kept hearing this, Rosanna, Rosanna. And it's like, I don't know, what is that? I'm looking at the lyrics and it doesn't mean anything to me. And then I really looked at the lyrics, and it's been about a year since you've been away. And I realized it was the rosary. I hadn't prayed for a year. What Rosanna was rosary, been about a year since you went away. And then all the lyrics made sense. And it was like, hey, where you been with the rosary? And it's like, oh, and I started praying the rosary again. That's a conversation. I think there are so many people getting music and they don't look at the lyrics and spiritualize them. It's not the boy singing to the girl. It's Jesus singing to his church, the bride. And they don't know that. I think there are so many people getting music and they just don't know it. So
That's true.
because I run into people and they start being more aware as I talk about this stuff of the songs that we just go, oh, it's an earworm. I can't get rid of it. I don't know why I keep it. Look at the lyrics. There may be something there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad you pointed that out because now I'm going to be more aware. That happens to me all the time. And I'm like, why is this stuck in my head?
Yeah.
But the rosary brought us back to the Catholic faith and to the church. Has brought my husband.
How to do that?
Once we were married, after I had my second child, my grandmother, the daily mass goer and the rosarian, she passed away. And I remember it weighing in my heart, like, who's gonna pray the rosary for her? So I picked up a rosary. I didn't know how to pray it. I bought like a little book and I would do it. And it just brought me this peace, and it would just bring me these, I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it, but just this peace and these graces. And then it just brought me closer to the Blessed Mother. And I went back to confession after a long time, and I haven't been away since. And I've been into the church. And then in the beginning, my husband, he didn't meet me like that. So he was like, no, but you go to church. And I did a 54-day novena. I didn't want to be that kind of wife. Like, come on, you have to go, let's go. I would just ask, do you want to go to mass with us? No? Okay. Just kept it going, but prayed for him. Honey, do you want to go to mass with us? No, I'm going to watch football. Okay. So I did a 54-day novena, and I asked for the intercession of St. Joseph. I'm like, St. Joe, please soften my husband's heart, help him see, come closer to God, be with us as a family. You were Jesus' dad here on earth. If you can, bring him to Jesus. So I'm not kidding, the day I finished a 54-day novena, the next morning, do you want to come to mass with us? I wasn't expecting it. He was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. I was like, what? What? Another spiritual high five. My kids laugh at me because sometimes I'm literally high-fiving nothing, like in the air. I'm like, that was for Jesus.
Is that what you do, though? You do a high five in the air
I totally do that.
to Jesus?
Yes, people must think I'm nuts. Yep.
I love it.
Yes. People
I
think
love
I'm
it.
crazy. So my kids, they laugh every time they see me do that. Mom, another high five to Jesus? Yep. And my husband now changes his work schedule so that he won't miss mass. I mean, you couldn't tell me that he would be doing that 10 years ago. I'd be like, no way. You'll never get this guy to mass.
Yeah.
And he won't miss mass. It's amazing. And then I heard him speak to one of his work buddies, like evangelizing. I literally had to go in the other room and I was in tears because God is just so good. Look how he softened this man's heart. And he loves Jesus so much now. I could cry now. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
It's beautiful.
God is just so faithful all the time.
I'm going to do a shout out to Joe. Joe is at John Vianney here locally. And he wrote me this beautiful email. And he just said, came to one of your talks. Your talk led me to your Touched by Heaven podcast, which led me to Father Mike Schmitz and Bishop Robert Barron and what they do, which led me to the Rosary, which led me to the confessional for the first time in 52 years.
Amen.
And now I support you, meaning what we do here, as well as Bishop Barron, Father Mike, and his own church. And so and I just ran into, at the airport, what day was this, 2 days ago? His pastor, Father Tom Johns. Father Tom Johns is just a wonderful pastor, and he was coming back from something. And I said, I got to tell you about an email I got. And I said, by the way, I got you a raise. And went through the whole thing of what led to what to led to. And he went, "Oh, we got to have you back again." I said, "That's right. You'll get another raise." So anyway, it's powerful because one thing leads to another, which leads to another. Your novena led to a rosary. It leads to, and all of a sudden your husband can't miss mass. It's beautiful.
No, won't miss it for nothing in the world. Nope. And talking to his work buddies. Imagine all these rough guys at the docks. He's talking about Jesus.
Crazy.
And how, it's just amazing.
Crazy.
All glory to God, I'm telling you. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It is.
And that's what I got for today.
Are you out of stories? I doubt it.
Yeah. No, I have many, but I don't want to keep you,
This is a good start. We're going to talk again, okay? Would you mind? I'm going to.
Yeah, sure.
But this is a conversation about the conversation with God.
Yep.
Because people listening right now want this so badly.
I know I did.
He might lead you to something in which you're going to think about it. You're going to think about it and you go, "No, I'm not going to do that." 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just do it.
That was amazing. That was definitely for me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So tomorrow morning. Maybe not. What time do you want to wake up?
Honestly, I'd probably have to get up at 5:30. It's hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. Yeah, so I'm going to pop up and do that.
It's a mind game. It's always a mind game. It's just, of course you can. Don't want to, but yeah.
Nope.
So there you go.
We will put the phone in another room and
Yep.
do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
That was amazing. That was definitely for me. I'm still mind blown about that.
Yeah.
I wish you could be in my head because that I feel like you are actually, but I was just thinking about that this morning, and there you go. You're like, this person 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Who told you?
So what's our takeaway?
Our takeaway is God is just so good, and he's waiting for us no matter what we've done, no matter where we've been. He's waiting for us with open arms like the loving Father that he is. That's it.
Amen.
Amen.
We'll get you back for part 2 real soon because I know you have more. And some things are going to happen between now and then. You know that.
I'm sure. Thank you so much, Trapper.
Thanks, Jenny. Awesome. Oh, how did she do? Did she get up the very next morning bright and early and half hour early and set the alarm? Let's see what she did. Here was her text to me. Here we go.
Hi, I did get out of bed early today. I left my phone in the kitchen and set the alarm for 5:30. I made it out at 5:39. It's a start. I was able to read the Bible and a reading from the Divine Intimacy Meditations book. The second I finished the last sentence, my husband walked in from work and the kids got up. It was exactly enough time. Can't make this stuff up. I also borrowed the 5-second rule from the library yesterday and started reading it on my Kindle grimacing face.
Oh, so it worked. All right, let's see. Then I sent her a text. What did I say?
Your iMessage. How awesome. Give Jesus a high five. Oh, you already did.
Give Jesus a high five. She said, oh, and then I say, oh, you already did, right? And she says,
LOL, you know I did. Button. Apps.
You
button,
know
message,
I did. There you go. All right. Thank you so much, Jenny. I know it wasn't a coincidence that while putting together this podcast episode, I heard a homily put together by Father Joe Krupp, who's out of Michigan, who was also at this retreat. But I literally just, as I break away from this, to do other things and come back to this to put this together. I went away and I just picked a random Joe Krupp homily, and he was talking about feelings. I don't feel like it. Is kind of where it hit me as, but it's not about feelings. And we probably all have areas in our life where I just don't feel like it, but we're still called to it because that's part of being a human being. And the word courage comes up too. Courage never feels good. But I'll tell you something else I've been practicing here the last couple of days, and it's working, is when I hit those moments of I don't feel like it, I just say, I have courage. And there's something that just releases and relaxes in the body. Try that one. But I have courage. And there's a release in there. I don't know. Maybe it's tied to the, what was the song that played in charades? Just, I don't know. Something kind of hits. I hear charades. I go, oh yeah, I can just pretend. I can act. I can and do that thing, whatever it is. And I think I think it's in certain areas of our life, we probably all have some aspect of that, but there's something in that 5-second rule, and I have courage, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And just go. Don't give your brain a chance to think about it because you know where it's going to go. And you could take all of this, or you can find the book by Mel Robbins called The 5-Second Rule. But God threw it in my lap, and there's something there. As well as in this episode of remembering that sometimes music could be speaking to you, that the rosary is powerful, and a 54-day novena has some superpower to it. As well as dreams can mean things sometimes. Write it down. Ask angels for help and pray that in the name of Jesus, okay? That works. We've shown that. All right, your story again? It needs to be here. Touchedbyheaven.net. Thanks for the Patreon help. Again, touchedbyheaven.net. Click your way through or go to patreon.com and search for Trapper Jack. You're the fuel to make it all go. All right, I'll see you next week here on Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. Trapper Jack reminding you that this is good stuff, isn't it? This is good stuff.
It gets better. Woof.